Okay, so we are discussing about what Java loops, right? Yesterday we have seen about Java iterative statements, right? So what is an iterative statements? When you want to execute a set of instructions repeatedly, then you can go for Java iterative statements. But to achieve this, we use what? We use Java loops. So there are totally three loops in Java. One is for loop, second one is while loop, and the third one is do while loop. So we have understood about the syntax, and also we have seen the internal things, and the complete control flow of the for loop. Right. So today I will add few more things today. So today's example, I am going to take the same for loop again. Okay. So let me take the expression 1. Okay, expression 1 as integer I equal to 0. Expression 2 as I is lesser than or equal to 5. Expression 3 as I plus plus. Okay, and just want to print what? System dot out dot println. I want to print the value of I itself. Okay. Now, can you tell me what would be the output in the console if I execute this code? Everyone, answer this.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, the output will be like from 0 to 5. So this is very clear, like Java C space a dot Java. Okay, 1 minute, guys. Semicolon is missing. Okay. Java C space a dot Java. Java space. Okay, the numbers will be printed from 0 to 5. Right? Now, see, I was telling you about the expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3. Right? Today, I am going to make a small change in the for loop. I want to make a small change in the for loop. I want to do a little manipulation. Okay? I just want to remove this expression 1. Focus here. I just want to remove this expression 1. Right? So instead of usually this expression 1 is meant for initializing the value, right? Initializing the variable as well as initializing the value. So you do what you do, you declare the variable and you initialize the value. So that is the purpose of expression 1, right? That is the purpose of expression 1. But today I am just removing the expression 1 from the for loops. From the for loop, I am just removing the expression 1. I am placing it just before the for loop. If I ask you, is there any expression 1 here? What you would say? Anyone with eyes can say that, okay, there is no expression 1 here. But there is expression 2 and there is expression 3. Right? So if I ask you, is it really necessary to declare and to initialize the variable inside the expression 1 or not? If that is the question, the answer is no. It is just an optional. If you want to declare the variable, if you want to initialize the value, you can either do it in the expression 1. Okay, this is the actual placeholder, right? Or else you can declare outside. So the moment I start executing this code, you will get the same answer like before. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is happening behind the scenes? Let me trace this. What exactly is happening? Okay, this is my code. Okay, let me make some space here. So we can say that this place is reserved for expression 1. This place is reserved for expression 2. Okay, this place is reserved for expression 3. So in the yesterday's class, we were discussing about this expression 1 is mean to declare and initialize the variable. Okay. So this is going to, expression 1 is going to act as the starting point of the boundary setup. So if you have a boundary, So if you want to define that boundary, there should be an expression 1. From the expression 1, you will actually start defining the boundary. Yes or no? From the expression 1, you will start defining the boundary. So ideally what I am doing it here, I am keeping this expression 1 as empty. I am not declaring or I am not initializing the value here. Or I am not declaring and I am not initializing the variable here. Instead of doing it in the place of expression 1, I am doing it outside the for loop. I am just doing just before the for loop. Okay. By this, this is also valid. What would happen if you just execute this piece of code? What would happen? The main thread will get generated, right? Main thread get access to the main method. All the instructions inside the main method gets executed. And if you just focus here, right? The first instruction is what? Value 0 is getting assigned to the variable I. So value 0 is getting assigned to the variable I. So you have a 0 which is assigned to what? Which is assigned to the variable I. Is assigned to the variable I. Right? Now next thing is what you are doing. Next thing, the main thread will encounter the for loop. The main thread will encounter the for loop. So inside the for loop, it will check for the expression 1. Right? Expression 1 is empty. Okay. So this expression 1 is something which is not even a mandatory thing. It is an optional thing. So it will check for the expression 2. In the expression 2, you are actually doing the conditional check. So inside, to do the conditional check, you are using the variable what? You are using the variable I here. Right? But I is already defined and it is outside the for loop. But still it is defined, right? Still I is defined, but it is not defined in the expression 1, but it has been defined outside the for loop, just before the for loop. Instead of having it defined in the expression 1, we have just defined it outside. It will not create, compiler will not create any error. What compiler says? Compiler says that expression 1 is optional. Compiler is saying that from the compiler perspective. It would take the, it would consider the expression 1 as an optional statement, but it would also expect the actual initialization and declaration. Of the variable is just happening outside. Placed before the for. Okay, you should satisfy this. Even though you are not placing expression 1, no issues, and you are using the variable again in the expression 2, you are making the conditional check I is lesser than or equal to 5. So what is this side? Where is the declaration and where is initialization? That is already done, but not in the expression 1, outside the for loop. No issues, it is completely fine. Okay, the control will travel from from E1, it will go to the E2, it will do the conditional check. What is the conditional check? I is lesser than or equal to 5. What is the latest value of I? 0. So 0 will be lesser than or equal to 5. Okay, this condition is going to return what? True. So when it is returning true, this control is going, it will go inside the for loop. It will go inside the for loop and it will execute all the instructions. There is only one instruction, which is what? You want to display the value of I in the console. The value of I will be displayed on the console. Okay, after executing the body, after executing all the instructions inside the body of the for loop, okay, it will go back to expression 3. So you are doing the increment and again it will come back to expression 2. So it keeps going. It will execute the expression 2 as long as the condition is true. The moment the condition becomes false, it will come out of the, when this main thread gets terminated out of the for loop, right? So the reason why this is happening is because you are going to, this expression 1 is going to get executed only once, right? So no matter if you place this expression 1 here or if you are declaring the value outside, because it is going to get executed only once. Because of this execution, only one time the value is getting for the first time the value will be assigned to the respective variable. From the second time onwards, this is taking care of what? The expression 3 is taking care of increment or the decrement. Okay, that's why you have an option to declare the expression 1, or you can leave the expression 1 as an empty thing, but the variable has to be declared just before the for loop, just before executing the for loop. The functionality is going to remains unaffected, is going to be same, but ideally we don't use this in the real-time application development. So this is just to understand the importance of this expression 1 placeholder. You can leave it just like that, or you can declare it exactly at the expression. Right? Now the second question is, okay, now can you tell me what would be the output in the console? Out of println expression 1. Okay, think and tell me what would be the output in the console. Okay, for the better visibility, I am just leaving some spaces so that we can see it clearly. Okay, what would be the output? First, identify what are the statements that are there in the expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, and the body of the for loop. After, once you identified it successfully, then you get the answer. Any idea about this? You can answer either yes, or you can answer either no, or you can answer don't know. Do you want me to explain this?
Maybe.
Okay, let us execute this, then you will get some insights. Okay. Okay, now what it is displaying? Expression 1 is displayed 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now why this is happening? Let us try to understand this. Okay, so this is the code. Okay, we know that main thread will be created. Main thread gets access to the main method, and all the instructions will get executed in the main method. What is the first instruction? You are just initializing the value 0 to the variable I. Right? So behind the scenes, okay, a memory will be created which is going to store the value 0, and this is going to get an address which is I. Okay, done. The statement has been executed. Okay. Then after executing this statement, the control will get inside the for loop. Okay. First it will check the expression 1. Okay. So it's expression 1. Okay. You can also play system.out.println statement. Okay. So this will get executed. So what you are trying to say in the expression 1? The expression 1, you are trying to print something. That something itself is what? Expression 1. So this expression 1 will be displayed in the console, because that is the content that I want to display. So that's why in the output is what? Expression 1. Okay. After executing expression 1, the control has to go to expression 2. So conditional check needs to be done. So what is the condition? I is lesser than or equal to 3. What is the value inside the I? You have already, memory has already been created for the variable I. What is the value inside the variable I? 0. So the 0 will be compared with what? Will be the comparison like 0 is lesser than or equal to 3. Yes, it is. The output is going to be what? True. Okay. If it is returning true, this control will get inside the body of the for loop. Okay, from the expression to the body of the for loop. What is the only instruction that you have? You want to print what? System.out.println I, the value of I itself, right? What is the value inside the variable I? 0. So 0 will be displayed. Right? After executing this, from here the control will jump to expression 3. So ideally, guys, this is expression 1, this is expression 2, this is expression 3. Okay. Now it has jumped to expression 3. So what you are doing? You are just doing the increment. Okay, I plus plus you are doing. So this 0 becomes what? 1. It will be incremented by 1. Right? So from expression 3, again it will go back to the expression 3. Always remember, when the control is coming to the expression 3, definitely it has to go back to the expression 2. Definitely it has to. It must go back to the expression 2. Okay, so it will be go back, it is going back to the expression 2. Again you are doing the conditional check. What is the conditional check that you are doing it here? Okay, you are saying I is lesser than or equal to 3, right? So what is the latest value of I? 1. So 1 is lesser than or equal to 3. Again it is going to return true, right? Since it is returning true, the control will be getting inside the body of the for loop, right? So you want to display the value of I itself. Okay, the latest value is what? 1. Okay, 1. Okay. Again from the body of the for loop, expression 3, right? Again you are saying I plus plus, so increment will happen. So 2, it will become 2. The memory, the value gets incremented by 1, so it becomes 2. 1 becomes 2. Yeah, again from here it has to come to the expression 2. Okay, now it will compare what? Value of I lesser than or equal to 3. Latest value is 2. 2 is lesser than or equal to 3. So again it returns true, right? True means gateway will be opened to get inside the body of the for loop, right? You want to print the value of I itself. What is the value of I? 2, right? Again the control will go to what? Expression 3, incrementing by 1. So this 2 becomes what? 2 becomes 3. Okay, here what? Here the conditional check is happening. Again the value of I is getting compared to what? Y value of 3 is getting a comparison like 3 is lesser than or equal to 3. Okay, of course this condition is satisfied because it is equal to 3, right? So true will be, see, it is going to return the value true. True means gateway will be opened, it will go inside, print the value of I itself. I is what? 3, right? So after executing this, it has to go back to what? E3, expression 3. Now it will become 4. In the memory the value of I becomes 4, right? So it has to come, the control has to go from expression 3 to expression 2. Okay, now 4 will be compared with 3 itself, which is going to return false. Okay, the moment it encounters if false, from expression 2 it gets terminated from the for loop. Okay, it will come out of the for loop. It will come out of the for loop. After coming out of the for loop, if there are any instructions, that will be executed. If there are no instructions, okay, in the output you are going to see this in the console, right? So by this can I conclude that, by this also I can conclude that the expression 1 is getting executed only once. Yes or no? Are able to get this? First takeaway is this expression 1 is not like the initialization or declaration has to be done only in the expression 1. It is not like that. So declaration and initialization is not mandatory to do this in the expression 1. Initialization or not mandatorily should be done in the expression 1. You can do it outside, but you can keep any other statement, still the compiler will execute. Or you can keep this empty also, no issues. Making sense? Yes, no? Everyone? Are you getting this? Can
Yes.
I get? Now let's see another example. Let me remove this. Okay. Now let me do what? I want to give now second example, one more scenario. Okay, you can get this kind of question. Now I am removing expression 2. I am completely removing the conditional check, right? I am completely removing the conditional check. So now I have only expression 1. So expression 2 is empty. There is expression 3. So I want to run this code. Okay, so I want to run this code. So compiler is not throwing any error. If I run this code, it keeps executing. See, it keeps executing, right? I need to stop it. So what is happening behind the scenes, right? Let me go to the paint screen. Okay, now we focus here. See, the main thread gets generated, the main thread gets access to the main method. Directly, it will get into the for loop. Firstly, it will check the expression 1. Expression 1 is something like you are directly doing what? You are directly initializing the value 0 to the variable I. Okay, to the variable I. Right? Now it has to come to the expression 2. So this is the expression 2. Now compiler is noticing that the developer has kept the expression to empty. The developer did not place any conditional check. So this is the thing that will be observed by the compiler. At the time of compilation only it will be observed. At the time of compilation only it will be observed. What it is going to do is, it is going to assign a default value. It's going to assign what? It is going to assign a default value. So not placing any conditional check here. Right? So not placing any conditional check, the compiler is going to place true here. By default, it will think that okay, the developer has forgotten to place the conditional check. So let me place a conditional check as true. It will consider true as the default. Right? So if the compiler is placing true here, now what would be the condition of this loop? The loop becomes an infinite loop. Why it becomes infinite loop? After the initialization, okay, it will check for the condition. By default, it has become true. Right? It will go inside. It will execute I. I will be displayed on the console. For the first time, it is going to be 1. And again, it will go back to the expression 3, I plus plus. Okay, the value of I will be incremented to true. Incremented to 1 here. I'm sorry, first it has to display the value 0. Then after the incrementation, it has to display the value 1. Okay, since the condition is always true, this loop becomes infinite loop. Okay, condition is always true no matter what. Condition is always true. So this loop will be executing infinite number of times. You cannot say that infinite number of it is true. Infinite loop. So you are making a particular for loop as an infinite loop just because of you have skipped giving the statement in the expression 2. You are skipping the conditional check, or if you are not giving any conditional check, by default true will be considered. When this is true, don't you think that this is going to get executed repeatedly from expression 2 to body of the for loop, and again expression 3 and again true? Okay, since it is going to be true forever, this loop is going to execute continuously forever. Yes, no? Are you getting this, everyone? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The idea here is, when you are not placing anything in the expression 2, by default the compiler will place the Boolean value which is true itself. Right? In the interview question, they will ask you, okay, is it valid or invalid? What you would say? This is completely valid. What would be the output in the console? Okay, the options will be like compile time error, compile time error. Okay, the second one is like runtime error. Okay, third one is like infinite loop. Fourth one is like none of the above. What will be the answer?
3.
3 is the answer, infinite loop.
Infinite loop.
Infinite loop is the answer. And the second question, the follow-up question can be, okay, what would be the value in the expression 2? Okay, what default value will be considered by the compiler when you miss expression 2? What would be the default value? Default Boolean value here. True is the default Boolean value. Right? When you miss this, compiler will ensure that this is getting replaced with the true value. That is the takeaway. Right? So I can say that by this I can conclude that expression 2 is also, expression 2. Expression 2 is also an optional thing. The moment the expression 2 is left empty, the compiler will consider the default value, which is what? Which is true. Okay. Always remember, when the expression 2 is true, always it becomes what? Infinite Okay? So you should be in a position to answer these things in the interview room or in the certification examinations. Okay, the third thing is, what if I do? What if I remove this expression 3 and I am keeping a conditional check like, okay, now tell me who is going to answer this. I is lesser than or equal to 1. What will be the output in the console? If I, you can answer either yes, you can answer, I mean, you can answer the thing that you would like to answer, or else you can say don't know, whatever it is.
0.
0.
What about others? 0, okay, let me execute this. Java C space. So I have just compiled it. So I can confirm one thing. The compiler is not throwing any errors. Yes or no? Because so you are keeping the expression 3 as empty. The compiler is not throwing any errors. Right? Let us check what would happen in the runtime. How this is going to get executed. Java space here. Again it says 0, 0, 0, 0, infinite number of time it is printing. Right? Tell me why. Anyone can observe this. Why it is printing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 always? Any idea? Any insights? Any thoughts that you can share?
Boolean true.
Okay. Yes, correct. That is one of the part of the answer. Okay. Let me show that for you. Okay. First observation is what? The first observation is the expression 3 can also be left empty. It is also an optional thing. It is not mandatory that you need to make any statement in place of what? You need to use any statement in place of expression 3. This expression 3 is meant for what? Increment, decrement, or update. Yes or no? The expression 3 is meant for increment or decrement or an update. Okay? This can be used for increment, incrementing the value, decrementing the value, or update, right? You can do these three things, but you have kept this empty. So when you kept this empty, the increment will not happen. Okay? The decrement will not happen and update will not happen. When these three things are not happening, what would happen actually? The control will start executing from the expression 1. So expression 1 is going to have the value 0. Okay, 0. And this 0 is assigned to the variable I. Okay. Now the control will be transferred to the expression 2. Expression 2 is what? Conditional check. I is lesser than or equal to 1. So this 0 will be lesser than or equal to 1. Right? Which is going to be what? Which is going to be true only. Since it is satisfying the condition, it is going to be true only. Okay, so far okay. Since it is true, it will go inside the body of the for loop. It is going to print the value of I. Right? Value of I is what? 0. Value of I is what? 0. Okay. After this, it will go to the expression 3. It is not finding any increment statement or decrement statement or update statement. It is just empty. No issues. Let it be empty. Okay, and it will go to the expression 2 once again. Again, the condition is what? 0 is lesser than or equal to. Don't you think that the 0 is lesser than or equal to 1 is going to be checked forever? Don't you think that? Every time the conditional check is going to be what? 0 is lesser than or equal to 1, 0 is lesser than or equal to 1. Okay, because if you're not doing any increment, you're not doing any decrement, you're not doing any update, the value in the I, okay, this I is going to have the same value forever. This 0 is going to be there forever. If this is going to there forever, right, and you're not incrementing the value of I, okay, the condition is going to be true always. Don't you think that you are getting another infinite loop here? This time, the infinite loop is going to print the same value 0 forever. Yes or no? The condition will remain true. Why the condition will remain true? Because the value of 0 is, value of I is 0 always. Value of I is 0 always. What does it really mean? You are going to compare 0 is lesser than or equal to 1 true. It is going to be true always because the value of I is going to be 0 always. And you are not performing any increment, decrement, or an update. Because of this, the loop is going to get executed infinite number of times. Infinite number of times. So while executing this loop for the infinite number of times, the output is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0 forever. Are you getting this? Everyone? Yes, no? Only if you do the increment, right, there are chances that this condition at one point of time, this condition will be failed, right? Only if you do the increment. If you're not even doing the increment, don't you think that this I is going to be 0 forever and 0 will be checked upon the value 1? comparatively? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting this? Again, you are creating an infinite loop here.
Yes.
Right? So I can conclude that the expression 1 is optional, expression 2 is optional, expression 3 is optional. But when you keep the expression 2 as an optional thing, by default, true value will be considered. When you keep the expression 3 as an optional thing, you are not incrementing it, you are not decrementing it, you are not updating it. So there is a problem once again. Right? It is making the loop as an infinite loop. Right? Now tell me what would be the answer. Now tell me what would be the answer.
One, like infinite time.
One will be printed forever. Good. One will be printed forever.
So for loop doesn't have any syntax, sir, like syntax errors.
Mostly syntax errors are there, but what is happening behind the scenes is the compiler is designed in such a way that it's not going to recognize whether you are placing the conditional checks or not. So if you keep any other statement apart from the conditional check, for example, if you keep a statement like integer a equal to 10, this is not valid. I mean, this expression 2 is reserved only for the conditional checks. For example, so this expression 1 is reserved for initialization and declaration, right? At the same time, if you remove this expression 1, you also have an option to use the system.out.println statements. But this expression 2 is always reserved for what? Reserved for the conditional check. What if I do something like integer a equal to 100? Okay, now let me run this piece of code. It says syntactically now it is checking syntax. Why? Because this place is meant for conditional check. You can either do conditional check like this, I is lesser than or equal to 100, something like after executing this expression, the resultant value has to be either true or false. If you are placing any other expression apart from the conditional checks, okay, that is invalid. Right? And again, this place is reserved for increment, decrement, some kind of mathematical operation, update operation. If you are trying to assign any other values here, that will be come under syntax errors. So this is the internal design. There are some flaws here. Okay, it is not making any sense when you remove this. When you write system.out.println here, that is not making any sense. Okay, but still, this is the for loop is designed like that, internal design. Right? So you're just removing the statements here. For example, let me say system.out.println. I want to print I. System.out.println. Okay, I want to print out. System.out.println. Let me execute this code. Java C space a.java. Now you see,
Hyphen error. You didn't get the hyphen.
it's a
System.out.println hello. Sir.
okay here. I'm just doing a checking, guys. Equal to, let me initialize that I equal to 1. Now you see, okay, it keeps printing see, it keeps printing how are you, hello, how are you, hello, how are you, hello, how are you. Now let me trace this. Okay, so your question will be answered now. Okay. Now you tell me, first you just give me some insight. What is there in the expression 1? Just tell me the answer. What is there in the expression? What statement is there in the expression 1? I system dot out dot println. This is the statement in the expression 1, right? What statement is there in the expression 2? Just tell me the statement.
I less than or equal to 100.
Yes, correct. What statement is there in the expression 3?
System dot out dot println
How are you? How are you? Right? What is the body? Allow your body. Right? So how the execution will start? Execution will start from here. Integer I equal 1. 1 is getting assigned to the variable I. Right? Behind the scenes, 1 is getting assigned to the variable. Okay. 1 and this is I. Right? So this is done. After this, it is encountering the for loop. So in the for loop, the expression 1 will get executed. So blindly in the output, I will be displayed in the output first. Right? In the output, I will be displayed. Okay, now if you see, you may be a check key. Sir, you said that this expression 1 is meant for what? Declaration initialization. Yes, it is for declaration initialization. Okay? But still you have an option. Okay, if you are declaring you are taking care of the declaration and initialization part just before the for loop, that is completely fine, because this has been taken care. You are setting the boundary outside the for loop, that is completely fine. And also you can keep this empty. You can keep this empty. You can leave this empty. If you want, you can keep a statement like system dot out dot println, because this is going to help us to check whether the control is actually touching this expression 1 or not. Whether the control is actually coming here or not. Okay, now if you see the expression 2, this expression 2 is designed only for the conditional checks. Only for the you can do only the conditional check. You cannot initialize it. You cannot use system dot out dot println statement, because it will accept true or false. That's it. It is designed to accept true or false. Okay. If you are placing the conditional check, well and fine. If you are not placing it, it will be treated as true always. Right? So it will be accepting either true, either false. That's it. Right? But again, in the expression 3, it is mean to what? It is mean to do the update or increment or decrement. Update or increment or but still the update, increment or decrement, they are not inclusive, guys. They are not inclusive in the sense you can update it or you don't update it. No issues. Compiler has no issues. Still the program is going to get executed. So this whole for loop is completely controlled by this conditional check. That is why the a lot of importance has been given to this conditional check. Either it has to be true or it has to be false. It will not allow any other statements. It will not allow any other expression. But if you look at this is an optional, because you have an option to declare it outside. This is also an optional, because it's up to you whether you can update it or you can decrement it or you can increment it. It's up to you. If you want, you can update. If you want, you can increment, or if you want, you can decrement. Okay. That's why this expression 2 is since it is acting as a gateway. If the control wants to go inside the loop, okay, it has to do the conditional checks. So it is acting as a gateway. This expression 2 is very, very important to be taken care. So syntactically, you may write this statement in the expression 1, you may write this in the expression 2, but expression 3, but when it comes to expression 2, it should always be the conditional check. If you ask me why it is like that, this is how it is designed. This is how this for loop is designed.
So does it print 100 times?
In this case, no,
Yes.
why it will print 100 times? Because you are not incrementing it, right? The I is going to be 1 forever. Yes or no?
Yes.
So this I is going to be 1 forever. When you keep the I as 1 forever, you are not incrementing it, or you are not incrementing this value. You are not decrementing this value. You are not doing any update to this value. How the control will travel? Control will execute I first, then the expression 2, then the body of the for loop, which is what? Hello, right? And how are you? Right? Again here, okay, this is going to be true forever, right? Okay, for the first time, I will be printed. For the first iteration, I will be printed. From the second iteration, okay, you see what? You see hello, how are you? Again, it will come here. Hello, how are you? This for loop is going to get repeated forever. Okay, and this conditional check can be controlled only by using the expression 3. You should use the expression 3 so that you have a control on the expression 2. Making sense?
Yes, sir.
This is going to get printed in infinite number of times. You cannot stop this. Okay, so these are the few things that you need to observe when you are giving certification examinations or when you are trying to give any interviews. Okay, this could be the questions that they would ask you. Apart from that, let us try to do some problem solving. Okay, now I want to solve a problem like I want to find the sum of first 5 natural numbers, which means I want to find the sum of 1 to 5. Okay, so we know what is the sum of 1 to 5. What is the sum of 1 to 5? What you will do? You will do what? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. The answer is what? 15. Right? We need to use a for loop to print this, to print the exact 15. Okay. How we can execute? Okay, let me take this place. Now focus here. What I want to do, I want to print the sum of first 5 natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Right? So I already have the boundary here. I should start from 1. This is the starting point. Right? And what is ending point? So this is the ending point. So by this I can define the boundary, yes or no? So how I can define the boundary? I will be using a for loop, okay, which has to start from what? Which has to start from 1. So I will be doing integer I equal to 1. Right? So what is the endpoint? Where is endpoint? Endpoint is what? 5. 5 means I should iterate this for loop for how many times? Until we get 5. Until we get 5. Right? So it is going to be what? I is lesser than or equal to 5. Because you should consider 5 also. Right? So what is the step over? What you want to do? What is the step over? Every time you should take 1 and 1 should be added with 2. Right? And this resultant value should be added with 3. And again this resultant value should be added with 4. And again this resultant value should be added with 5. So the increment step is 1. You are incrementing by 1. Okay. How I can define the expression 3? Okay, I plus plus. Okay. If I just place this for loop, I know that the body of the for loop will get iterated for how many times? For 5 number of times. Right? The boundary starting from 1 to 5. So the loop will be iterated for 5 number of times. But what I want to do, at the time of each and every iteration, I want to calculate the sum. I want to do what? I want to calculate the sum. First, let me show you how I am calculating it. I will give you the insights. Okay, let me write the program there. If for integer I equal to 0, I is lesser than or equal to 5, I plus plus. I am taking a variable, guys. Outside the for loop, I am taking a variable like integer sum equal to 0. I am taking a variable name as sum. I am assigning the value 0 to the variable sum. I will tell you why I am assigning this. For now, just think that I am assigning a value 0 to sum. Inside the for loop, what I am doing? I am saying sum plus I. Okay, I am saying what? I am saying sum plus I. Right? And I am assigning the resultant value to the sum itself. Assigning the resultant value to the sum itself. Okay, and after outside the for loop, I am doing system dot out dot println. Okay, I want to print the resultant value, final value of sum. If I run this code, I will get the answer, that's the required answer. 15 is the output. Right? Now you must understand why I am initializing the value 0 to the, why I am taking the sum variable here, first of all, first thing. Why I am taking the sum variable here, and why I want to, do this operation for every iteration, why I want to do this operation. Okay, let me trace this first, then I will help you with the real-time analogy. Some analogy I will give you so that you will understand this perfectly. Okay, now you focus here. Now see guys, for example, let us say that I have a kind of I have I have a coin box. Let's say that I have a coin box. Okay. I have 5 coin boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I have another one 5. Okay. In the first coin box, I have 1 rupee. Second coin box, I have 2 rupees. The third coin box, I have 3 rupees. The fourth coin box, I have 4 rupees. The fifth coin box, I have 5 rupees. Okay. So this is what the values inside each and every coin box. I want to find the sum of the values of all resultant value of all the coin boxes. I want to sum the values inside all the coin boxes. Right? What I will be doing, I will be taking an empty coin box first of all. I will be taking an empty coin box. Okay, and I will take the first coin box one. Okay, and what I will do, I will just take the value inside the first coin box one. I will put it here. Initially, this coin box has what? 0 rupees. Initially, it has 0 rupees. Nothing is there. Okay, so I will come here. I will take the coin box. I mean the value inside the coin box first. I will put it here. I will calculate the sum. 0 plus 1 is going to be what? 0 plus 1 becomes 1. Right? Next, I will go to the second coin box. Okay, I will take this value. I will put it here. Right? So 1 plus 2 becomes what? 3. Okay. Next, I will take this coin box and I will move it here. I will take this value. Okay, and 3 plus 3 becomes what? 6. Plus b 3 is going to be what? 6. Okay, and I will be going to the fourth one. I will take this value and I will do the sum. Okay. 6 plus 4 becomes what? 10. Okay, and I will be going on next to the fifth coin box and I will take this value. I will calculate the sum. Okay. 10 plus 5 becomes what? 15. If you see this, I am taking an empty coin box. So that under each and every, I will go under each and every coin box. I will take the value. Right? I will do the summation. Right? So this empty coin box that I am talking about is what? The sum variable. So this is what I am saying. I am taking a variable name by the name of sum. But initially I am setting the value to 0. Right? Initially, this coin box has what value? It was with the value 0. I am initializing the value to 0 like the way I have initialized the value 0 to the sum variable. After initializing this, behind the scenes in the memory, right, I will be having a sum variable which is initialized to what? Which is initialized to 0. Value as 0. Okay. Then, okay, this instruction has got executed. Then the next instruction is what? That is the for loop, right? The first instruction in the for loop. Right? So you are saying again value 0 is initialized to the variable I. So there will be a variable I. variable I, okay, value 0 has been initialized. Right? After this, you are doing the conditional check, expression 2. Right? I is lesser than or equal to 5. So 0 will be compared. I is what 0 here. So 0 will be compared with lesser than or equal to 5. It is going to return true. Once it is returning true, the control will go inside the for loop. You are saying, look at the right hand side. You are saying sum plus I. Okay, what is the value inside the sum? You have 0. Right? Now, what is the value inside the I? Value is what inside. Okay, did I take 0 here? 1 minute. Yeah, no issues. What is the value inside I? 0 1. So 0 plus 0 is going to become 0 again. The 0 will be assigned to the resultant sum value. So the sum becomes 0 once again. Right? After the execution of this body of the for loop, it will go to the expression 3. You are doing I plus plus. I plus plus means what? The 0 becomes what? 0 becomes 1. 0 becomes, right? And from here to expression 2, I is lesser than or equal to 5. Okay? Now 1 will be compared with 5. It's going to return 2. Right? Now again body of the for loop. But this time you are doing sum plus I. Doing what? You are doing sum plus I. What is the sum? Value is sum 0. Okay. Plus what is the value inside I? 1. This 1 is also incrementing, at the same time sum is also incrementing. Okay. After this evaluation, the resultant value is going to be 1. Again this 1 will be assigned to the sum itself. Okay, just like moving this coin box from beginning to the end and collecting all the values from each and every coin box. Right? Okay. So now the latest value of I become what? I become 1. Sum become 1. After this, you are performing the increment operation. I plus plus. I plus plus means what? The value inside the I has to get incremented to what? 2. Right? From here again conditional check. I is lesser than or equal to 3. So 2 is lesser than or equal to 3. This is going to be true itself. Right? And again this will come inside. Okay? Sum plus I. What is the latest value of the sum? 1. Okay, 1 plus what is the value inside I? 2. Is going to give 3. This 3 will be assigned to the sum itself. Right? Latest value of sum becomes 3. So you are getting the summation here. You are doing the increment here. Parallelly, you are doing summation. You are doing the increment. Right? So after this expression 3 once again. Right? 2 becomes what? 3. Right? And from here conditional check. Right? Now this time 3 is lesser than or equal to 5. It is going to be true. True means it will go inside. Right? Sum plus I. What is the latest value of sum? 3. 3 plus I is what? 3 plus latest value of I is what? 3 itself. 3 equal to 6. Right? Now the sum will be updated to 6. Like this, if you keep doing, okay. Next one, the sum will be updated to, this will be updated to 6. This will be updated to 4. Okay. Next, the sum will be updated to 10. Okay. And this will be updated to 5. Okay. And the sum will be updated to what? Updated to 15. 15. And this will be updated to 6. Okay. The moment it becomes 6, the for loop gets, the control will be kicked out of this for loop because the condition will be failed. The moment I becomes 6, the condition will fail, will come out of the for loop. You want to print what? Latest value of sum. Latest value of sum is going to be what? 15 itself. Right? That's why you're taking an additional variable. It is just a kind of a supporting variable. You're using this variable over and over again to store the summation of consecutive summation of the individual sums. The actual cumulative operation you are doing. You're collecting each and every value and you're adding it up and you're storing it, and you're using you're taking the next value and you're adding that with the resultant sum, and again you are storing it, doing it over and over again. So making sense. If you want to find the sum of first 5 natural numbers, okay, in this case I have started with 0. You can also start with 1, whatever the number is. You can start any with any number, you can end with any number. The resultant value is going to be the expected one. If I want to find the sum of first 50 natural numbers, I can just manipulate here from I equal to 1 till 50. Boundary is going to be 50. If I execute this code, 1275. Right? If we want to find the sum of the natural number starting from 10 to 20. Okay, the boundary will be defined like this, from 10 to 20. Okay, if you run this, you will get 165. Right? So if you want to find the sum of first 100 natural numbers, so instead of doing the modification here, I can take another variable like integer number variable. Okay? Whatever the number that you want to find, whatever the sum that you want to find, okay, the boundary you can set here. If you say 100 here, okay, instead of using the value directly here, you can use number here. If you want to find sum of first 5 natural numbers, just do the modification here to give the value 5 to the number variable. Since you are using the number variable in the conditional expression, this 5 will be considered. If you want to find the first 50 natural numbers, give the 50 here. If you want to find the first 100 natural numbers, give the 100 here. Right? You are making use of another variable so that you are not hard coding this. Okay, you are just doing a kind of soft coding thing. The value will be considered from here. You can make changes outside the for loop. Are you getting this, everyone? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, see, now you tell me, okay, there is another example that I can give you. I want to print only the even numbers from 1 to 10. Let me see how I am writing the logic for this. I want to print only the even numbers. What I can do, you know the boundary starting from 1 and it ends at 10, right? So the boundary is very simple. For integer I equal to 1, I is lesser than or equal to 10, I plus plus. If you get knocked out of the meeting, please rejoin. You will see very simple problems. It will be just 5 minutes. Please rejoin. I equal to 1, I is lesser than or equal to 10, I plus plus. I want to print only the even numbers. But I do not want to touch this iteration, this expression 3. Expression 3 should be like this only. I do not want to touch this, but still I want to print only the even numbers. What I will be doing is, if you get a question like this, just use a if condition. Use the if condition inside the for loop. At the moment you place an expression, right? I percentage of 2 double equal to 0. Now you print the system dot out dot println. Okay, print the value of 1. If I run this code, you see only even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. So what is happening behind the scenes? Let's do the tracing part really quick. Okay. So you have placed an if condition inside the for loop. Okay. So this is what? This is the body of the for loop. Okay. And you have expression 1, you have expression 2, and you have expression 3. And you have numbers from 1 to 10. The boundary set like from numbers are starting from 1 to 10. 1 is the starting point and 10 is the ending point. Okay. This is the case. Okay. So what I was saying is the boundary has been defined from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So this is the boundary, right? So this for loop will be executed for 10 number of times. So this for loop is going to get executed for how many times? It is going to get executed for the 10 number of times. Right? First time integer value of integer I equal to 1. Right? So here you are doing what? You are doing a checking like, hey, can you check if 1% of 2 double equal to 0? The conditional check will happen, but it will return what? It will return false. So when the false is returned, definitely the if condition will this will never get executed. Right? So again the second value is what? Second value is 2. Right? Now the 2 will be checked upon this condition. 2% 2 double equal 0. It will return true. So when it is returning true, the value of I will be printed, which is what? 2 itself. Okay, and again for the 3, okay, this if condition is going to return false, so this will not be executed. And again for 4, okay, this if condition will return true. That's why the value 4 will be printed on the console. Again for the 5, it will be not executed. It will not be executed. For 6, it will be executed. Okay, and for 8 will be executed, and for 10 it will be executed. Okay, but in the memory, I memory, okay, the values are getting incremented from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till 11. The values are getting incremented from 1 to 11. Till 11 also it is going to get incremented. Right? So it means the for loop is getting executed for how many times? It is getting executed for 10 times. But inside this you have placed an if condition. This if condition is getting executed for how many times? Only 5 number of times. Because it has to satisfy the true condition. Again, if condition has to satisfy what? It has to satisfy the true condition. Right? So this is defining this I percentage of 2 double equal to 0 is defining whether the statement inside the if condition is to get executed or not. So no, what I am trying to say is, if you want to print only the even numbers, you can place if condition inside and you can iterate it over and over again, and you can give an expression like I percentage of 2 double equal to 0. Based on this condition, right, you can display the even numbers. If you want to display the odd numbers, you can just do the opposite condition, like you can just say I percentage of 2 is not equal to 0. When you say not equal to 0, it's just the opposite thing. All the odd numbers will be printed because this condition will be valid for all the odd numbers, so that will be printed. Right? So these are just the basic problems. Okay, in the tomorrow's class